So, who's getting excited about our sew along this week? We have two of them. The first one is on Wednesday. It is our Down the Rabbit Hole project, which looks like this. And then on Friday, we're doing Crossroads. Both are at 10 a.m. Both are on our Facebook group, Heidi's Quilting Help Desk. And I will go live, and then afterwards we will post the finished video. So if you're not able to watch it right away, it's not a big deal. We'll put it back up for you. Right behind me is the Down the Rabbit Hole quilt. And I want to talk a little bit about what we need to gather on and have on hand for Wednesday, which is basically nothing, because I'm going to go over cutting, how to do the ruler technique, how to do the traditional technique, and we'll go over some fabric. But I wanted to share with you my fabric choices that I'm picking to get ready for our classes, and I wanted to give you a heads up on some of the supplies that you might need to start your project. Again, on Wednesday is really the kickoff. Then you'll have a week to get all your stuff together, get it cut, and then we'll start the sewing on the 27th or the 29th, depending on which class you're in. Or if you're in both, you got a lot of homework. So first, for Down the Rabbit Hole, the ruler method that I'm going to be covering is using the Cat's Cradle Extra Large ruler, not to be confused with the Cat's Cradle ruler, which is smaller. The difference is the Cat's Cradle ruler only makes up to a 4.5-inch block, and this guy will make up to an 8-inch block, which is what the block size is in our quilt. So if you are interested in doing the Cat's Cradle method, we do have these on our website. You may already have the ruler, but we're going to go over that, and then we're going to go over how to do a traditional Cat's Cradle ruler without, or a traditional Cat's Cradle block without a ruler. So if you don't want to have yet another ruler in your studio, you will still be able to do the project just with your regular stuff. So you'll need that. We are going to be squaring up the blocks with the ruler technique. So if you can get your hands on a martelli or a turntable cutting mat, it will make trimming up blocks easier. Again, not a requirement. And I can put a link under the video to get one of these. You can order them from Amazon. We don't carry these on our website, but I do recommend getting them. It's a really handy tool to have. You will need 12 fat quarters. You will need for either project. For Down the Rabbit Hole, you also need 1.33 yards of background fabric, and you'll need, if you want to add the borders like we have on here, there's an inner border and an outer border. You will need 1.33 yards for the outer border, and the inner border is part of the background, and you need 2/3 yard for binding. So that is what you need for Down the Rabbit Hole. For Crossroads, you need 12 fat quarters. You will need 1 yard for backing, or 1 yard for background, 7/8 yard if you want to put a border on it, and then 2/3 yard for binding. So depending on which way you want to go, both these patterns are on our website. They're both digital downloads, so you don't have to wait for us to ship them. We're happy to ship them if you'd like. But I want to talk a little bit about my fabric choices for these, why I'm picking what I'm picking, how the colors are all going to work together, and hopefully this will help you as you're picking your fabrics. So the easiest way to do this quilt is to have a fat quarter bundle that you have purchased and have already. I am using our Who's Who, well, that's for the other one. So let me start with the Down the Rabbit Hole. For Down the Rabbit Hole, I'm going to use the hash dots that I got from Michael Miller Fabrics. They're all bright primary colors. You can see they're just yummy, yummy colors. And then I'm going to use black for my background. So you will see how much these pop off. So you want to make sure that there's enough contrast between your fabrics and your background so it doesn't disappear. It doesn't have to be as dramatic as this is. This would look just as nice. Let me show you what it looks like on white. It would look just as nice on white, but when you put them on the white, they're quieter. It's softer. It's not quite as dramatic as the black. I'm going for dramatic, I'm going for the black. So there's no right or wrong for your backgrounds. Just make sure that there's something calm. You want to pick something that's a neutral. If you're going into color families, Backgrounds are usually going to be your cool colors, greens, blues, a bluish purple. You don't usually want to use a warm color for your background because warm colors tend to grab your attention and they really tend to steal the show. So if you do that as your whole background, all your other prints will kind of disappear. So as a good rule of thumb, I always stay away from warm colors for my backgrounds. And if the whole quilt is warms, you're just going to want to pick the coolest of the warms. And what I mean by that is here's a pink and a red and a yellow. And of these three, this guy is your coolest color. This is the first color your eye will go to, and then the red is much more dominant than the coral. So if you're going all warms, you're going to want to pick the coolest of your warm colors to be your background. So that's that. So with either project, what you do when you first get it is you're going to pair up your 12 fat quarters into 6 pairs of 2. I'm going to lay these out, and I always start with my warm colors first. I'm going to lay out all my warm colors because they are my more dominant color, and I have this huge cutting table and I'm still pushing stuff off. I don't think you can ever have a cutting table big enough. So these are my warms. In this bundle, they gave me 5 warms and 6 cooler colors. So I'm going to add lime green as one of my warms because of all the cool colors. This is the closest because of the yellow in it to make it lime green versus Kelly green. This is much cooler than this. You can tell it's much bluer than this guy. So I'm going to make the lime green my 6th warm color, and then I have all these cool colors that I have to match up, so I'm going to match them up. You can be extremely contrasty. You can go red to green, and you could go blue to orange, and that's your color wheel right there. Or you can kind of break it up and soften it a little, like going green to orange is not quite as Christmassy as green to red. You can do red to teal. You can do blue to pink or blue to yellow or blue to orange. So you want to just sort of lay them out and see which ones look the best together. And I'll share them here with you in just a second. All right, I think we're happy with that. So I went with blue to coral, so warm, cool. Then I went teal to red because I still like the contrastiness of red and green. I just don't want the Christmassy look. So teal is a nice compromise because it's not in your face Christmas colors. So I went red to teal. Then I went gold to turquoise. And again, yellow and blue are contrast colors, so gold to turquoise is a nice match. Then I went orange to green versus red to green. It's not Christmassy, but they still have a contrast. And then I went gold to this olivey green. These are the least contrasties of them, but this grabs a lot of attention and this falls in the background. So they work well together when you're stuck with what you picked. And that's what happens when you have a bundle. There's always going to be one pair that just isn't going to be what you want. And then for my lime green, I went with the darkest of my cools because I needed more contrast. And if I had gone teal to green, there's not as much contrast as that. Those are going to pop next to each other. So these will be my pairs. Now I'm using a fat quarter bundle that I took out of my stash. So I do not have any border fabric. I'm going to cut the project and see what I have left over and try to work out if this is going to either have just a narrow black border with no outer border, or if there's a way I can take the remnants of what I have left after I cut the quilt into a piece border. And if I do that, I will definitely share with you how I get there, what I cut. So, but that will be later on in the project. So that is for down the rabbit hole. Next, I'm going to pick the fabrics for the Crossroads quilt, which is different in the sense that, so there's down the rabbit hole, that out of the way. Crossroads has big chunky areas where you're going to be able to do a showcase fabric, a bigger print, something you really don't want to cut up and you want to show off. So pick out a fat quarter bundle or fat quarters of your fabric that you want to have a chunk of it showing. So what I'm going to use for this one is this collection called Who's Who from Wyndham. It has daisies and feathers and words and dots, and then it has all of these really cute cartoony owls. So how we're going to do this one is, again, 12 fat quarters or 6 pairs. I picked out the 6 most biggest prints, focusy fabrics out of them. So there's the owls. And then I'm pairing them up with the coordinates that are in the fat quarter bundle. Now this fat quarter bundle had 26 fat quarters. I only need 12, you know, unless I choose to go bigger, but I'm just gonna go with 12. So these are the focus prints, and then I took one basic of each color out of the bundle. So there was only one blue in the bundle, and there was coral, green, gold, like a pinky purple, and then a gray. And so then I'm going to match these up with a fat focus fabric. So each pair will have a coordinate and a focus fabric. And let's see. I think that goes there, that goes there. That definitely goes there. That goes there. That goes there. And that goes there. So what we've got are the little owls and moons are going to go with the lighter gray feathers. So you can see they contrast. They're dark and light. They are both gray. This quilt will be a little bit quieter than the Brights quilt, but it'll be fun. Then I took the big funky owls and I put them with the teal or the peach words. And then I picked out the trees with the dots. And then these trees are going to go with the pink dots. Again, we're looking for contrast in scale and in color and in value. And then this guy is the owls with the feathers. And then we got one more of the owls with the moons, and that's going to go with the yellow daisies. So these guys are all going to go on my white background. So this quilt will be softer and quieter than that one. So maybe when I start cutting these, I'll mix these up a little more, but I think I'm really happy with these. And again, same thing for Crossroads. I don't have a yard for border, so I will figure out my borders. Now this one, I have all of these other fat quarters left over, so I may come up with an additional fat quarter border for it. But we will see this week. For Crossroads, you do not need a special ruler. It is made out of half square triangles, so I'm going to go over several ways I do half square triangles, so you can try them and decide which method works best for you. And what else do we need for that one? 12 fat quarters, a yard for background, 7/8 of a yard for border, 2/3 of a yard for binding, and no real special tools for it. It's going to be a fun, easy one. If you're trying to decide, if you're a beginner, which way to go, this is going to be the easier of the two. That being said, if you did the down the rabbit hole with the ruler, it's just as easy. So you can decide, or you can take both, but I look forward to seeing you guys on Wednesday and on Friday. And please leave a picture of what your fabrics look like. If you're getting excited, if you have any questions before we start on Wednesday, Wednesday really is going to be more questions and answers and getting ourselves situated and going. I'm excited. This is the very first time I'm teaching this way and my very first sew along, so I am very thankful that you guys are going along on the ride with me. So thank you, and see you on Wednesday. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, make sure you like and subscribe below. You can find the Whimsical Workshop on our website, thewhimsicalworkshop.com, and that has all links to all of our other social media platforms. Thanks for joining us.